Pengumen ko para agility o join am styling pun.
Okay, Yaku Olip, and welcome to the third episode of the SGA Podcast. My name is Wilmer Joyle. I'm the Student Government Association President, and I'll be your host today. Our guest for this episode is a graduate of Marshall Island High School, class of 1999. In 2002, he graduated from the college with an associate in business administration. In 2006, he received his bachelor's from UH Hilo in business administration, focusing on accounting. He later worked for the Ministry of Education as a perform-based budgeting coordinator for 3 years. He later served as the college's chief financial officer for over 8 years and is currently at the college's vice president for business and administrative affairs. Ladies and gentlemen, Milei's own Stevenson Catton. Thank you, Stevenson.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Can you walk us through the daily responsibility of Vice President of Business and Administrative Affairs for those who might not know what entails your responsibilities?
Come on, Mr. Joel. It's really a pleasure to having this because I know that it's important for us to have these kind of important dialogues, especially not just for our CMI community, but especially RMI in general, especially for those that don't understand what's happening inside the walls of the College of the Marshall Islands. The daily responsibility of the Vice President for Business and Administration here at CMI include, aside from looking at the financial reporting and management of all CMI incoming and outgoing money, the Vice President for Business and Administration Affairs is also looking at the technology, IT sector of the college, looking at the auxiliary services of the college, another arm money making of the college. It's also looking at the plant and facility, the tangible asset of the college. And it is also responsible for looking at the safety and security. So everything from intangible to tangible that are not related to academic and student services, that is really the responsibility of the Vice President for Business and Administration Affairs here at the College of the Marshall Islands.
What are some of the challenges that you face?
One of the biggest challenges is to recruit the professionals that are well trained and have the really set skill and experience when it comes to managing the college's assets. And when I'm talking about the asset, we're not just looking at money, because every time we talk about assets, the first thing that comes to people's mind is money. So aside from looking at who can take care of the colleges and advising all of us with respect to looking at the details of the books, because at the end of the day, you need to find the right person that understands what goes to debit, what goes to credit, not just that, but when to do that. And the reconciliation for the college's overall financial reporting and management. Then also looking at someone with the right set skills that can look at the tangible assets of the college. So you're looking at a lot of the investment that the college, thanks a lot to the RMI government, that we are able and we're able to invest so much on solar energy, solar projects, as well as all these new and really nice facilities. And within these facilities, then we have all these state-of-the-art technology that we otherwise, I mean, it's so hard that you can imagine that CMI has these kind of special technologies that we have on island that are really to help students and the instructors to deliver and for the deliver instruction and for the students to have the right equipment, right tools and materials for them to be able to learn. So you need people to continue to maintain all of these assets. So that is one of the biggest challenges, to recruit the right people, because we don't have that much money. So we have to compete with other institutions in terms of salary. So one of the new idea that we're looking at is bringing our own people within the RMI and grow them within the system, train them, provide them with the right tools, right systems in place, and then provide them with the right mentorship programs so that they can help develop our own people. So instead of relying on bringing in people from the outside, then we grow and develop our own people within our system here at CMI.
Kamal, in a nutshell, how many people work under your department? or under your supervision?
We're looking at about 90 to 100 people that are currently working under my leadership here at CMI.
And based on department, how many are there?
In that same average wise, in terms of by department, average is about 30.
30 a month. I'll go straight to the first issue or the first question with an issue on it. So as you are aware, muri or debt is one of the issues that our students at the college are currently facing and have faced. My question is, why is that? And are there measures being taken to address this issue?
Thank you. This is really the most important question for anyone here at the college, and not just for myself, but also for the senior leadership team, the president, the board, and everyone that is working here, especially the students. And this is one of those challenges, I would call it challenges, because when it comes to muri or debt or outstanding balances on the students' ledgers, it shows that the student owes CMI money. And there are many contributing factors. One of that, which we discovered recently, is the advising system that we have here at CMI. And one of the biggest challenges that we came across was communication. Each department are not well coordinated in terms of communicating their direct responsibilities. So academic, student services, financial aid, business office, there was a bit of a disconnection when it comes to advising processes. Because at the end of the day, in all this circle of processing, in this cycle, there's only one commonality, and that is the student. So while we were not clicking, the end factors to that was the student, because they didn't get the service that they will deserve. So in terms of the muri, how students ended up with the muri, the right message and the right information is not provided to the students, both when they register to classes and when they're advised on which courses they should be enrolled to, and then also what are the requirements for financial aid, as well as how can they understand the charges, and also how can they understand how much money they get each semester and how much are they being charged. Because I can guarantee you that that has never been clearly explained to the student from both angles. So in this cycle of process here at CMI, the students are confused because they get mixed messages or information from each areas within the college. So our goal right now is to make sure that everybody speaks the same language at the same wavelength, so that the student, doesn't matter where the student go to, but they will still get the same message. It doesn't matter what department within the college. So our goal right now is to train all the staff, all the faculties. Staff meaning student services, financial aid, business office, and also train our professionals at the academic side of the college, so that we can help make the students understand their roles as well, because students also have a roles and responsibility in terms of understanding if they take a course, how much they will be charged, what are the charges and why, how much money they will be getting. If they register to 3 credits, how much Pell they will be eligible for. If they register to 6 credit, how much Pell they will be eligible for. Because one of the unfortunate information that has not been clearly explained to students is that if you register to a number of credits, that's how the Pell Grant is being awarded to you. So depending on the number of credits, you will be awarded certain amount of money from the Pell Grant. And I'm glad to say that over the few years, I would say many years that I've been part of the institution, we made a lot of changes in how we review and we help the students from the financial aid standpoint from the Pell Grant. I'm proud to say that 100% of our students, if they meet the SAP requirement, are eligible for Pell because of the standard of living that we have here in the Marshall Islands. It's the income base. It's different than in the US. So because of the income base, the bracket, 100% of our students are eligible for Pell. Not just eligible for Pell, but full Pell. But the only reason why they ended up not eligible for the full Pell, it's either they don't meet the requirement or they didn't register to the courses that they were supposed to. So for new students that are coming to CMI, especially for this coming semester, I hope that all of our departments within the college, including the students, we can work together to encourage students to register for full-time courses. Full-time meaning it's between 12 to 18. So if you register to a full-time, you get the full Pell. If you get the full Pell, average will be 800 to 1,000, around 800 to $900 that you'll be getting automatic refund. But the challenge in that is some students, they come to register and not complete their Pell. As you are fully aware, Pell Grant application is now available online. We don't submit paper application. Thanks a lot to the wonderful team that we're working with here at CMI, because we were able to invest in the right technology a few years back. So because we were ahead of the game when Department of Education in the US changed their system to move from paper process into electronic process, our systems were ready and capable of integrating with that system. The only downside of that is because of the way our systems are in the Marshall Islands. Because in the new application process that is online, both the parents or the contributors, that's the terminology they use in the US, the contributors and the students both need to have completed this application process. If the student is underage, if the student is 24 years and older, then they don't need their parents' signature or their contributors. They're fine. So if the parents don't sign the students, if the parents are required, the student will not be able to complete the financial aid process. So if you don't complete it, you don't have the money to go to school. But in the past, even if the student didn't complete their financial aid, the instruction that I always give to the team is just allow the student to register, because they can always come back and complete their application process. It worked before, but now it doesn't, because everything is online. A lot of students come to us and complain that they owe money. They haven't gotten their refund. And the sad story is they have not completed their financial aid. So to help solve that problem, you saw what we did last week, inviting all the high schools, principals, and the students and their parents, so that we can be more proactive, work closely with the community so that when they come, they don't end up owing money. Students end up owing money because there is not a good communication between our institution and the students. So when we don't communicate and advise the students, they don't have the right information in terms of understanding what are the charges on their accounts and how much money they get or they're supposed to get. So for those students that are listening, it's really, really important that you understand how you can maximize your Pell Grant. Because depending on the number of credits that you are registering to each semester, you will be awarded based on that number of credits. Hopefully it answers your question. If you want me to clarify, I will be happy to do so.
Sure. So the question would be now is what will happen then to the students who owe money to the college? Because I know that one of the main or important messages in our mission is to provide student access. So how we are going to provide student access if the muri is in the way?
From the management team, we reported to the board of the issue of student with outstanding balances, and it's really not good, and it's a sad story, and it is sad because it evolved and it came about because of lack of communication, and we can say that we may not have provided the proper training to our team, and we may not have provided the financial literacy programs to our students as well. And it tends to contribute to this issue. So because we feel that it is an institutional challenge, that it ended up preventing students from coming back, because when we talk about student muri or outstanding balance or debt, we're talking about a huge amount of money on the students' part, because they ended up taking classes but they didn't get the full Pell because they were not afforded the right advice that they will deserve. So because of all these contributing factors, so the recommendation that the management team is bringing to the board for January, we will be writing off their debt so that when they come in with a clean slate. And at the same time, I've been working closely with both financial aid office and the business office to provide technical trainings, so that when the students come, they can provide the financial advice from both sectors of the college, from financial aid and also business office. And I've done a lot of meetings with both academic and student services as well. And we've been providing the same kind of advice and training, so that when the students come, then we can all give the same message to everyone that will be coming through our doors. But the good news is, any students that owe money, and if there is any student out there that they feel that, and they already know that they owe CMI money, now we will be forgiving all of your debt. So you're welcome to come back to CMI so that we can help you continue your education here at CMI. We only have one college here in the Marshall Islands that can provide you these kind of opportunities where you don't have to spend a penny, but then you can apply for the free financial aid process, and then when you're awarded, then you pay for your education. So yes, and I'll be happy that you will be able to support that resolution that will be coming to the board to write off all the student debt, so that they can all come back and go to school and complete their program. Because that is our ultimate goal, is provide student access.
Yeah, thank you for that response. So, in terms of the students with the outstanding balance, in terms of statistic, how many do we plan to write off?
In terms of dollar,
Yep.
we're looking at about between 2 to 3 million
Mhm.
that we will be writing off. And just for those that don't understand from the accounting side of the house, what do we mean by writing off? So let's just say that there's this number of students that they owe money, and the total amount that they owe money to CMI is 3 million. So when we write those off, because we book those as a revenue to CMI, but now they're considered uncollectible revenue. So when we write those off, it means that we turn them into an expense. So when it's an expense, it's a loss on the college. So we're willing to lose 3 million today to gain more students to come back and finish their education here at CMI. It's unfortunate that we're in this situation, but that is the only way that we can do it, because at the end of the day, if you look at the mission of the college, is to provide accessible, higher and quality education to Marshallese people. If we value that 3 million more than the students, then there's no way that we're meeting the mission of the college. So that is why the recommendation of the management team is to forego that 3 million to welcome back these students, so that we can let them continue and complete their education. We need money, true, but in the long run, when we write these students off and they come back into the system, over time we can recover that 3 million. Because now we have the right system, we're providing the right training to our staff, and then we already have upgraded our policies and procedures in place, so that the staff are not just provided with the training, but they have the guidelines, best practices guidelines that we just drafted it recently and have the board approved. So the staff are well trained now. They understand what are the challenges. They understand what mistake we did in the past, and now they're ready and able to move forward in this new direction, so that we can bring back students, provide them with this service, especially the advice that they will deserve.
And so one final follow-up, in particularly on this issue, is how many students we are looking at that owed money?
I was looking at just the numbers right now, because of the systems that we do have. In the past, when we had manual system where our files were manual and we were using Excel as our database, it used to take me 3 to 6 months to analyze these data using Excel sheet, because our systems were manual, and because we were using a paper process. But thank God that we invested in the right technology and we spent our money correctly. So everything is now in database automation. So when I export these report into other system, you know that it's AI systems. So, and then we use these technology to analyze this. It only takes 1 to 2 hours to analyze 6-7 years data. So just looking at from this semester dated back to 2022 school year, we're looking at the numbers that I've already seen from looking at these data is 1,600 students that we will be writing off. If we go back to prior years, that number will increase because you're looking at how many graduates that are coming through our system every year, and then how many returning students come to us every year. So that in itself accumulated over time. So just looking at data back to school year 2022, we're looking at 1,600 students that they already owe money. And it's going to be so hard for them to come back to the system. So the only way to welcome them back is to work with the board so that we can write them off. It's painful because we need all the money that we can, but in accounting, it's already obvious. The students cannot afford to pay that debt. They cannot. As much as we like it, our economy is depending on what happened outside the RMI. You're looking at the global economy, and then you're looking at the US economy. Because of the fact that there is no disposable cash at home, the only way is to write these off, sacrifice that $3 million, and then the students will come back to the system, and in a way they will contribute because then they pay the current tuition, and the most important thing is they'll be able to complete their education here at CMI because there is only one college.
And thank you for that response. My third question is, there has been concern surrounding the CMI 2021 audit, and some are calling the audit a black eye for the college for its inability to be efficient and up to date with its financial reporting. My question is, what is your response to this, and what remedies are already or have been taken?
Thank you for that, and I'm really thankful that you brought that question up because it's really important for the college, especially myself, because as I had explained to you, that is part of my roles and responsibilities to manage and report on the college's financial affairs. But first of all, I am one of those that do not believe in what someone said. Of course, we're all human beings. When you read this thing in the newspaper, it say this, and then you hear this from someone that with a comment that said this and that. I mean, you cannot control what the newspaper says. You cannot control what someone said. What you have control over is the work that you do. Who knows better about your work than yourself? It's true that the college's audit is behind. That is really true. Is it true that it's a black eye? It depends on who you talk with. Why is it late? There are so many contributing factors. I'm not going to blame anybody, but I'm only going to blame myself and my team in terms of what we need to do to bring the college back to where it needs to be. Unfortunately, the delay in the audit for the College of the Marshall Islands, it's overshadowed so many great things that happen inside the walls of the college. You go to Yubai, you can see what CMI has done, both in Yubai and Kujigo. You go to Wajeh, you can see the same thing. You go to Jalud, same thing. Kili, same thing. You go to Arak, same thing. Soon to be Ligib, then there's going to be a service that the college is providing. You don't see it and you don't hear these in the newspaper. And that's what I'm saying. It overshadows the good things that CMI has done. Most importantly, you don't see it in the newspaper how many graduates CMI put into the economy in terms of providing to our country, preparing our students to send them off to go to other colleges. CMI is like a bridge to other higher education and to the market, whether it's here in the RMI or outside of RMI. When was the last time you hear this from anybody within the country? You wouldn't remember. When was the last time that our Marshall Islands, very own Marshall Islands Journal printed this really good news about the college? I don't remember the last time that they did. And this is why I said this is really sad. I don't know, maybe we love drama, but if we focus on what good things CMI has done for this country, it's a lot. Unfortunately, just because of the audit, it overshadowed so many great things. CMI is a leader when it comes to innovation here in this country. Not just here, but outside of the region, because Other places, we receive call from other places that they need help. But the only reason why we have not extended that much help, at least to my area within the college, is because I want to make sure that we take care of the audit first, and then we can go out there and provide professional help to other institutions that they've been asking. I don't want us to go to somewhere else and help them while our books are really behind. That is not a good practice, and I wouldn't encourage that. But what is so important is we need to be balanced when it comes to informing the general public about our own institution. I think it is about time that everybody take pride in the College of the Marshall Islands. Because it is our college. It is the College of the Marshall Islands. But to put so much negative on the College of the Marshall Islands, it's so bad. And I'll take that responsibility any day, anytime. We'll get CMI out of the way. We already work with Department of Education and other partners for the college so that we can work closely to elevate CMI from where it is now. The only downside when it comes to our institution, thanks a lot to RMI government and also to US government and other donor partners for all their support. Because even if we are running through this, I call it temporary hiccup, I see that our government, US government, and all of our donor partners, they're still supporting the mission of the college. And that is a really great thing. And we need to come together to help each other out how we can elevate CMI from this. Once CMI is out of this, then that's going to be really, really good, because then the rest of the good thing that CMI has been doing will be out there. But like I said, the audit has overshadowed so many things that CMI has done so well. You can ask any students. You go around, you go to Ministry of Health, there is CMI there. You go to Finance, there is CMI there. You go to Foreign Affairs, you see CMI there. You go to UHLO, you see CMI there. So we have so many ambassadors of the college that once were member of the CMI community. Soon you will be. I used to be a student here. When I came back and worked here at the college, one of the missions that I put forth on a professional level was to change the system, because I went to school and came back. CMI was still using the same system that I was using when I was a student here. But this has never been reported to the general public. We've done so much. When the COVID came, we provided a lot of help to the students and their parents through the COVID money. That was never reported in the newspaper, or it was never reported to general public. And I understand. The bottom line is, how are we going to get out of this in terms of the audit? Yes, we will. It takes time. When it comes to audit and accounting, once you are behind with your books, it takes time. We changed about 80% of our systems here at CMI. We did. Did we make mistake in implementing the system? Yes, we did make mistake along the way. There was also a time that our system was crashed, and we lost almost 100% of our data in terms of personnel. But we work with the system developers to recover them. So what we did learn from that on-premises database is, in terms of securing, it's not safe, because it took us 9 months to recover them. So what we did, we moved our system into cloud-based. Have we run into crash again? Yes, we did. But you know what's the difference? We were able to recover the system within an hour, unlike before, because everything is electronic and it's on the cloud-based. So challenges are okay. They're good if you can overcome them and if you can adjust. I mean, you set your course that you will go that way, and if you realize that the current change, the weather change, of course you have to react. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to reach the destination when you were supposed to. So it's the same concept in accounting. Whoever developed the principles of accounting, they understood the science of life as well. So it's the same concept. But the most important question that you and I need to find out is, are we going to be able to get out of this? Yes, we will. And I have so much confidence in the leadership team, the president, the plan that we put in place, and also the team here at CMI that we're working with, that will get out of this. And we will, in no time.
And Kamal, for that response. Now, just one follow-up on the audit is, when will be the next one?
We're looking at, when we come back from the break, if we can work with the external auditors so that we can start our field work. Because during the Christmas, CMI will be closed, but when we come back, we're looking at that time that we will be working with our external auditors to work on the audit field work schedule. So hopefully it's going to be as soon as we come back from the break. But in terms of, I forgot to mention what said publicly and in the newspaper, and I understand that people were worried about $500,000 question cost and then increase of findings, and I can understand why the terminology or the word that was used, black eye to the college, maybe to the nation. Maybe that's how people will be looking at it. Audit, annual audit, it's part of a practice for reporting purposes and also to grade yourself how well you did. And let me go deeper into explaining the $500,000 question cost and also the number of findings that was increased from 10 to, I think, 16 or 17. When the board asked me to work with the business office team and the rest of the college to expedite completion of the 2021 audit, I had only one goal at the time: get the audit completed. If the team cannot provide the supporting documents the auditors need, we're going to pass it and then put it as a finding. Whether it was going to be material weakness or not, in terms of the finding, I told and advised the board and the management team, it's okay, we will always come back. The board finance committee can always investigate to find out. But if anyone were to look closely into the audit, and it was not reported in the newspaper, it was not reported anywhere. It says, because the way it crafted or it was written in the newspaper, as if there was malpractice here at CMI, or if there was fraud. If you look closely at the audit, it says there was no fraud. But it shows that if we did committed fraud. The reason why you see those findings and the question cost is because the team was not able to provide the supporting document that they were looking for. So if you cannot substantiate the processes in the accounting world, if you cannot justify and substantiate and support it, of course it's going to be a finding. Of course, if you cannot provide the proper documentation that they're requesting, it's going to be a question cost. Because there are these requirements by these funds that if you cannot produce this or X, Y, and Z, it's going to be a finding. But if there is a compliance requirement on this fund, and you didn't provide what the fund is requiring, it's going to be a question cost because you cannot substantiate your processes. Do we have all the documents here? Yes, we do. But we didn't provide it at the time because I gave small window of opportunity for the team to work because we need to get the audit done. Quality of audit is what is more important, the quality of the audit. It's not how many findings, but it is the quality of the audit. Some audit, they may have 0 finding, or they may have 1 finding, or they may have 0 question cost. But if you look at their financial statement, if you look at the balance sheet, they're doing so bad, really, really bad. And that's why they keep asking the government, give me more money, give me more money. Because the compliance audit is good, but the balance sheet said otherwise. So what are we trying to say? The compliance is more important than the balance sheet? Both are important. Just my opinion from the accounting side.
Aman, my question, another or last follow-up on this is, will CMI's accreditation be impacted on the number of findings as well as material weaknesses as stated in the audit?
That is really an important question because it's also important for students and the parents, especially future CMI students. The answer is no. How do I know? I've been part of an accreditation team. So I've been part of an accreditation team reviewing other schools' performance as well. The key in accreditation is they set some standard and they look at you whether you are working toward meeting those standards. If you're doing nothing, that's where the problem comes in. But if you look at all the challenges that we ran into, we already improved ourselves from it. It's true that we didn't do this, but if you come and pass the wall within the college and come to the college, we've done so much as a team. So to keep the answer short, the answer is absolutely no, we will not. If we don't do anything about it, then that's where the problem will be. How do I know? I've been part of the accreditation team as well. And so is our ALO, and so is the president. Everybody has been part of this. And also we've been part of these committees within the education sectors in terms of helping reviewing these standards. And we fully understand these standards and what are our expectations as an institution and also for ACCCC. If we do nothing about these issues, that's when we will have problem. Because the goal is continuous improvement.
Well, thank you. I would like now to shift our discussion in another particular area. So in August, you've met with the student, you and your team, the dorm students, and students there had expressed in August a number of concerns regarding the dorm maintenance, resources, and safety. My question is, have these concerns been addressed, and what development have been made?
According to my understanding, the answer is yes. In short, we've been asked if we can bring in additional fan, and the president and I have discussed that, and we are ordering fans that are conducive to our environment, because you know what happened in our environment when you don't bring in the right materials. The corrosion is a big problem, and we can bring this, but we may end up not being able to afford them. As you know, right now, enrollment went down. So that means the level of funding support within our own internal funding also go down because it follows the enrollment. So we may ask for X, Y, and Z, but if our funding goes down, there is nothing we can do. So for us to be able to bring in the right materials, equipment, so we have no choice but to get it from Mobile Island. We're not going to repeat the same problem that we did, which is ordering from local vendors that they provide these fans because they don't last long. And also, students don't manage them well. We've discussed how we can be a partner in that. The fan comes in, you go, and they're just laying down there. So that's why the next plan is to put the fan in the ceiling, but the right fan, not just any fan, so that they last long. Instead of last just 1 or less than a year, they can last 3 years. So we're looking at other places that they're tropical islands, see what kind of materials they're using. So that's where the plan is right now, to order the right materials. And with respect to other requests that came, the report that came to me is they've done the maintenance that was needed. But I also received some pictures and report, and it was unfortunate. I'm not going to go into details. You've seen those. So a responsibility at any institution or at any organization, it's a two-way street. The institution provides the service. I was a student, I used to stay in the dorm. Not the dorm here, but the dorm in another institution. The moment you break any rules, you're out, because it costs a lot of money. CMI, we don't have the luxury of extra funding to repair every semester. It doesn't work like that. So we can do so much, we can only do so much, but we also need cooperation from the end users of our services. Are we perfect? We're not. I'll be the first to admit. But we are continue to improve on those services. And I hope the report that came to me, I hope that it's true that all of the requests and maintenance plan that was provided to the dorm, it's already been done. As I'd reported to you earlier, before, and the management team, the way the dorm were constructed, it's so unfortunate. They were designed like a high school. This is a college. The reason why it's so hard to maintain the dorm, because they were designed as a high school dorm. You put in so many students in small area. That's not new. That's not nice. So that's why the new design for the dorm, and thanks a lot to World Bank and the collaboration that we have with World Bank and NTC, because now we are in the final stages of completing the blueprint. And the dorm in Arak, instead of 8 to 6 students, 6 to 8 students in one room, it's going to be only 2 students. Less people inside one room, if it's a dorm, less maintenance, less problem, less issues. How do I know? Because I saw the difference in other schools. You put so many students in one small area, they cannot cooperate. I mean, I cannot cooperate with you because you came from a different lifestyle. I cannot cooperate with another. It's so hard. Can you imagine 6 to 8 students in one small area. Maybe 3 of them are really good students, but the others are not so cooperative. So it's so hard. There is no way we can fix the problem currently with the situation the dorms were constructed. So that's why I told you and the other students that it may not be 100% solve the problem now, but that's why we're building more dormitories in Arak. That's the only solution. I understand the rooms are small, but I cannot break the rooms because the way the construction was done, the wall are also supporting the two-story building. So we need to just accept the reality of those space and then take care of them. That's the most important thing, and then work together.
Do we know how old is the dorm?
I'm not sure how old is the dorm, but when I was a student here, the dorms were there. I'm not sure when was the last time, but I know for sure that when I was a student, the wing that is next to the physical plant and Lucky Star was there. Because I know a lot of my classmates, they were staying in that dorm.
So
Did they like it? No, they didn't.
So for looking forward in terms of the World Bank collaboration with the college, do we know when would those dorms being built there at Arak and Ijdedelakor will be complete? Do we have a timeline?
There was a meeting this morning. I haven't gotten the report yet, but hopefully by the time that we have the board meeting in January when we come back from the break, I'll be able to report on that and the timeline. But I know that the team is working around the clock to finalize the blueprint so that we can start bidding it out. But there's going to be 2-story building for both girls and boys. The total capacity will be 500, minimal 500 students.
So if the dorm will be over there, what will happen to this dorm?
Right now, the plan is for us to demolish it, but it's not yet final. We still have to present it to the board what the plan will be for here. The plan was, if CMI has money, we would build a lecture hall, because right now we don't have. When there is a big event then we use outside. And when there is rain, then we have a problem. Right now, CMI doesn't have a lecture hall. So that was the preliminary plan, but it's not yet final. So in a way, I can say that we don't know yet.
My next question is, there is a lot of donations as well as contribution that was made to what we call the CMI Endowment Fund. So a lot of this term is used often, but would you like to give a bit of background of what's the purpose of the CMI Endowment Fund as well as the goal of it?
Thank you. That is really, really an important question, because in short, in my capacity, I know for sure that while I'm the vice president of the College of the Marzama in terms of business and administration, I know for sure that there is no way that we will be able to touch the money in the next 10 or 20 years. Because if you look at the investment right now, it's at 2.8 million. When I started here at CMI way back, it was 45,000. Right now we're sitting on 2.8 million. Thanks a lot to RMI government. They've been contributing a lot to this fund. And thanks a lot to many, many of our partners. Because without their support and ongoing support, we wouldn't be where we are today. Thanks also a lot to the previous board members and the previous presidents, because with their wisdom, CMI was able to grow the fund to where it is today. From 45,000 in 2011 to where it is now, 2.8 million. That's quite a significant money in terms of growth, considering our local economy and how hard it is to donate. So we're really happy about that. So in terms of the importance of that fund, the money will be used for any CMI related needs. And then there's a draft investment policy that we'll be bringing to the board. In the investment policy, we put a minimum of 50 million in that unless CMI reach 50 million in that fund, we will not touch the money. So that's the current policy that has been drafted. investment policy guideline for the board to review and approve. So in that policy, if you're going to look at it and review, that's already shared for board's review. It provides detailed explanation of the purpose of that fund, how it will be managed, how it will be withdrawn, and the criteria of how it will be invested and reviewed in terms of when it's with the money managers, what are some of the criteria that the board will be looking into, working closely with the money managers so that we get the most out of the return in terms of the investment. And it's also providing the distribution of investment. How much goes into bond, how much goes into cash equivalent, or how much goes into other type of investment. So it's specifically provided in that IPS for the board to look at and review and approve. And this is the first time that we're going to have it.
Man, thank you for that. So another question would be, what is the probability of creating an in-house scholarship for students attending CMI, especially in regards to helping diverse students, such as non-traditional students, students' parents, or student parents, LGBTQ, or international students?
That is really, really a good question. I think I should have asked you that question in the first place. Why don't you work with the students, student services, put together a proposal and bring it to the president and the management for us to look at it and hopefully consider it. But it's already been discussed. But the best way that I've learned in terms of management, it's better that it's introduced up instead of down. Because in all the years that I've been working here at CMI, we do not support oriented, we do not encourage top-down decision. It's better that it comes up, we meet in the middle, and we discuss it and then bring it to the board. So I don't know, why can't you're the president right now, why don't you put together a committee within the college and then you guys look at that. But there is already a financial support that is provided by the college. The work study program funded by the college general fund, and the other one is funded through Pell Grant, Department of Education. So there are two types of financial assistance that CMI is providing to our students. So they get to work, earn some money, at the same time they they start gaining experience. So those are two aside from the Pell Grant. There is also a scholarship that we call FSCOG that is also provided to students. How can you be eligible for it? You just need to do one thing, submit your financial aid application on time and make sure that it's complete. That's it. These are all free money. You don't have to pay them back. So can you imagine if you have a work study, FSCOG, and then you have Pell Grant? Your moms and your dad will not spend a penny for you to go to school. You know, I grew up in the Outer Island, born and raised. Went to MI just like you. Both of us are proud of that school. Came to CMI and then I went on to UHLO. I will always be fortunate and be happy and proud of how RMI was set up by our forefathers. Because if it was not for the RMI scholarship, you and I wouldn't be sitting here. So with this same effort and financial support that I myself benefited from, these are some of the things that we support here at CMI to make sure that the same support that I receive, the students can receive. And all the students here at CMI, they can apply for RMI scholarship. I mean, I'm sure that they haven't. Don't say that they will not give you the money. Just apply and see what happens. Feel free to apply for RMI scholarship. So there's RMI scholarship to go to CMI. There is Pell Grant. There is Federal Work Study. There is FSCOG. And then there is CMI Federal Work Study. No student should hold money as long as they do their job and do the right thing. No student at CMI should hold money. And this is why the Muri thing is so unfortunate and it's a sad story for CMI and for the students as well. It's really sad.
I just want to make sure, so there is a probability, or we definitely will get supportive such proposal that you've mentioned is drafted up.
All I can say is I cannot see any one of the management team say no to it. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at the old man, you've worked with us closely already, and you see anything that comes to the student, it's so hard to say no. It's so hard. So that's why I say it'll be best if you don't bring just one proposal, bring in 3 options so that the management can look at all options and consider them and see how we can entertain either all, one, or 2 of them. So if a new lesson learned for you, never bring only one option to a table. Bring more than one. Because if one will not be considered, then you have no plan B for it. So bring those to us, because it's better that it come from the students and the CMI staff instead of coming from the management. It's much better. So that when we present it to the board, instead of saying, this is the management's proposal, we can say, this is the management proposal on behalf of X, Y, and Z here at CMI. They feel, and we also feel, that this is the best way moving forward to provide other financial support to the students. And for someone that grew up with almost nothing in terms of financial assistance, only the government, I'll be happy to fully support that. Why? Because I grew up in the same kind of challenge when it comes to finances. And I'll be happy to hopefully convince the president and the other vice presidents. I know for sure Elizabeth will support it.
Aman, I would like to go to another question, and that would be, what advice would you give to students and parents worried about paying for college?
My goodness, that's a good question. How do you come up with your questions? The answer to that is, you shouldn't be worried about any financial challenges in terms of sending your kids to college. So if I may, if I can speak to
Please.
the camera. If you feel that your students will have financial challenges in terms of going to college, you're only creating that idea in yourself or in your brain, and you're going to discourage your students or your kids. I mean, I'm sorry, not your student, but your kids. You can send, it doesn't matter how many kids you have that you will be sending to college. There is no way you will have that challenge in terms of sending them to college. Because there's so much money out there. How do I know? Because I'm also working and collaborating here at CMI along with many of my colleagues in other higher institutions outside of the RMI. I myself, I know that I may not be a living proof to many Marshallese, whether here in the Marshall Islands or outside of RMI. But if you know my background, I was born and raised in the outer island. My parents didn't have a full-time job. Their full-time job was copra making. My first goal was just to finish elementary school, that's it, because I was also having the same concern about financial support. Because the copra, the money that my parents were making from copra was only enough for our day-to-day life. Sometimes, or most of the time, it's not enough for buying us clothes. It's only for food on the table. But then, fortunately, luckily, I was able to pass to the greatest high school of all, Marshall Island High School. Thanks a lot to all the principals and teachers there, because they became a really good mentor for me. I thought that after Marshall Island High School, that's it, I would go back to Millie. CMI was here, but I didn't know anything about CMI in college. Graduated from the last year at MIGIS, that's when I first hear about CMI. A lot of the high school teachers, I give a lot of credits to my advisor those days. 2 of them that I can remember on top of my head, Sasana and Gary Ueno. They really mentored me so well. So you have to find the right mentor to really help you. They really helped me throughout my high school days at MIGIS. And many more high school teachers were good. Renati Prum, I mean, they were really, really good. And we were fortunate to be in that system at MIGIS those days. And from MIGIS, that's where I learned that there is a thing after high school, which is college. And the first thing that came to my mind is, who's going to pay for it? And fortunately, when I came to CMI, I first learned about financial aid. And then I first learned about work study. I used to work, can you imagine, I used to work in the business office as a work study student. And here I am working with them. But I never thought that all of these opportunities were out there until I tried. So for the parents or the student out there that are thinking that there is no money to go to school, that is baloney. That is an excuse not to go to school. If any one of us can go to school and complete it, then everybody can. Being a marshallist, there is an advantage to it because you are already a minority. So you're eligible to many scholarships out there in other schools. If you go to UH, if you do your part as a student and do well, you get free tuition. How do I know? Because I got it. Is it because I was smart? No, I was not. I was not the brightest kid in any classroom. I was not. But if you do your job as a student and instead of working hard, work smart, then all the money that are available out there, free money, will be provided to you. And no parents will be able to spend a penny. Part of that is because RMI government is really, really good in providing support. May not enough, but when I was in college, I worked 2 part-time jobs. One in the school, work study, and then the other one outside is painting apartments. I mean, you have to do something to make money somehow.
And thank you for sharing that. Now, second to the last question is back to the college itself. How do you make sure college money is used fairly and wisely?
That's a good question. How many of your requests from students that I return? It's not just you guys, a lot of the other departments. Is it easy to say no to any requests that come through our desk? No, it's not. Do you know what make it easy? Knowing that that's our responsibility, because as I had always tell my accounting students in my accounting classes, even when Dr. Elizabeth asked me to teach, because we don't have instructors in the classroom as a part-time, you know what I always tell the students? The mistake you make today, they're cheap. As you grow older, the mistake you make, they tend to grow. And the value of that mistake goes up. When I was a student at MISS, the mistake I made those days was only $50 mistake. Here at CMI, it may have been, $100 mistake? But right now, while I'm here at CMI, if I make a single mistake, minimal cost will be $1 million. So that's something that every student that is thinking of moving up the ladder in terms of education and career-wise, these are some of the things that they have to look at. So when a request comes through me, people are looking at it as a dollar value. But I'm always, every time we're making decisions at the SLD level, we always say, how does this support the mission of the college? If we say no, do this, will it interfere with the advancement of CMI? That's one. The other one is, if we say no, do this, or if we say, okay, we're not processing this, we can process it later, will this impact the learning opportunity for the students? And will it impact the classroom? Student experience, classroom, the mission of the college are our priority every time we look at these requests that come through. So in order to safeguard the college's fund, that's why we invest so much in our technology. Because if someone does something wrong in the system, in terms of play with the money, you can catch it like that. It's so easy to do it. I don't have to do it, someone else can find out. Because that's why there is segregation of roles and responsibility in our system. The work that you're doing, I cannot come and do it. Sometimes, in terms of our systems, I can do pretty much 100% of everything that my staff are doing. I can do receipt, I can do cutting check, but I don't do any one of those. I only learn those so I can train people that are coming through our doors to do their job. So in terms of, am I confident that no one will be playing around? 10 years ago, I was not confident. Today, I am. Why? Because everything has moved from manual process, which is so hard to monitor it. But now that it is in electronic, you can. And part of that discussion, remember the discussion we had with the data? It's so easy but you have to analyze it to know. But it's so easy to find out right now. If someone is sitting on a request, I'm pretty sure you know that you can find out how long it's been sitting there, and it is with who. So that's why our systems are so robust and so transparent. And that's why it built the confidence, not just in me, but with the whole senior leadership team, including the president.
Thank you. So I'll go to the last question, and the last question is, in your capacity as Vice President for Business and Administrative Affairs, what accomplishment do you wish to imprint on the college during your tenure, and what would you like to say to probably the future incoming VP?
I really hope that when the day comes that I will be moving on from this capacity, my hope is that another Marshallese will come and replace me. I'm not saying that no expat should come and work here at CMI. I'm not trying to say that. But because it gives pride to us as Marshallese, if we have Marshallese in the leadership post here at CMI. Because at the end of the day, this is the College of the Marshall Islands. And I'll be the first to say that I really embrace the fact and the idea of diversity here at CMI. I'm really proud of that. Because where is diversity, you get to learn a lot because you learn from different cultures, then you learn from different people with different ideas. When you're more diverse, you learn a lot because people bring in different ideas from their perspective. That's a good learning environment. That's my ultimate goal. When the time comes, I'm really hoping that someday when I leave the college, the replacement will be a Marshallese. The second, I really want to make sure the biggest accomplishment that I'm always looking at is to train the next Marshallese to take over my role. And the biggest accomplishment that I was looking for is knowing that you provided an opportunity to someone. You help bring them to the table and you help elevate them. Because once you elevate someone, then the domino effect will be, then they get to help their family and somebody else. So that's why my team knows. I do not like the idea or the fact that student comes in and they go home and we didn't serve them well. Anyone that has worked with me here at CMI know that. I don't like that. Aside from helping anyone grow professionally, the biggest accomplishment in terms of my capacity here at CMI is when I go to a hospital, when I go to Ministry of Education, when I go to anywhere, whether it's here or somewhere in the state, and someone come to you and says, remember me? You may not remember me. But I remember you helping me when I owe money to CMI. That Muri thing, it's not new. It's been there forever. So that is, and then I was able to finish school. That is the biggest accomplishment, that you feel that you did something, not wrong, but something somewhere positive, that it helps someone move from where they were to where they are today. That can really help them advance their life. Because at the end of the day, from one person to more person. Because not their family, but everybody else. Aside from all these accomplishments, I mean, the audit will be done, and it may go down again, and may come back up again. But the greatest accomplishment, that no one can take that away from you if you help somebody, even if it's just one person.
That was a very important insight. Thank you, Vice President Katon, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the conclusion of our interview. We appreciate the viewers, those who have joined us for this podcast. And we look forward to the following or the next episode. But till we meet again, we might come back on January after the Christmas break. So on behalf of our guests here, Vice President Katon and myself and the college president and all of us here, we'd like to say Komoltada for joining us. Merry Christmas and a happy holidays. Komoltada.
Komoltada. Merry Christmas.